Hey, welcome back to the screencast. It's Mr. S. It's Maths You Should Know. And today it's lesson 1.2, better known as ratio. Today in class, we talked about ratios and we defined ratios as a relationship between two numbers. And we even took a little bit further and we said a relationship between two numbers that describes how many times the first number contains the second. So, as an example, we could say maybe a ratio of girls to boys in a class maybe is 1 to 2. Oh, we're back with the difficulty we're having with the pen, but we'll get through this together. We also talked about in today's class that there are 3 ways to write ratios. That's one of them, using a colon. You can write out the word 2, 1, 2. Okay, got it. 2. Or we can write it as a fraction. 1, 2, 2. And that would also describe, if we were talking about girls to boys in a class, for every one girl in this class, the ratio would be there would be 2 boys. You would expect 2 boys to be in that class. All right, that's a ratio. That's how it works. Let's take a look at a problem or two. Here is a word problem that wants us to compare the number of red paper clips to the number of blue paper clips. And then we're also going to reduce our fraction. So if I'm counting our number of paper clips that are red, I see 1 here and I see 1 up here. So 2 total. Perfect 2, of course. I'm going to use a fraction for this. And how many blues do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we could say the ratio of red paper clips to blue is 2 to 6. However, I would like you to reduce this to make it a ratio that's even more understandable. The way I'm going to do this, going back to yesterday's lesson, we had to talk about common factors, right? GCF. And I think the greatest common factor of 2 and 6 would be 2. So I'm going to divide both by 2. In a way, reducing this fraction, making it more workable. Even though I'm reducing it, by the way, it does equal, because we're actually dividing this by 1, and any number divided by 1 is still itself. 2 divided by 2 is 1, speaking of that. Over 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we could say that the relationship between the reds and the blues in this case is 1 to 3. In other words, every time I see 1 red paper clip, I would expect to see 3. And that's how I use ratios in this case. Let's take a look at another one. Well, we've done these. I want to give you another strategy that here it is, that I would like to call nesting. Now, this is a different type of ratio problem, but it's still one that we can use ratios to solve. All right. Katie wants to divide her 30 flowers. I'm going to underline 30. I hope I'm going to. Here it comes. Yes, lovely. Flowers into 2 groups. All right, so I have 2 groups. I'm going to draw down here. By the way, I think I'm going to call this strategy a Shetler's nesting strategy. I don't know why. You'll see why, I suppose, in a minute. And the ratio is 2 to 3. That means in the 2 groups, the top group, I would expect 2. And the bottom, 3. Perfect 3 and perfect 2. Okay, so I'm going to nest this. I'm going to say, okay, well, in the top, I'm going to put 1 group of flowers in there and another group of flowers in this container. Maybe it's a flower pot, but you know my drawing skills. All right, and then down below, we're going to have 3. 1, 2, gorgeous, by the way, and 3. Perfect. So if I were to divide this, in which I just did, these 30 flowers into these containers, how many containers do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means I'm going to break these 30 flowers into 5 groups. What is 30 divided by 5? Oh, it's 6. So each group is going to contain 6. I think you might see why it's called nesting. I'm nesting the numbers in these little containers. And after I do this strategy, all I have to do is then add. So this top container, it has 12 in it. And the bottom container has, so 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And so that's how I would split the flowers into two groups using a ratio of 2 to 3. Just an interesting other way of doing the strategy other than dividing. Ladies and gentlemen, that's ratios. I hope you enjoyed the screencast. Please don't forget to write, email me, text me, comment right on this YouTube. Please like and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. That is the maths you should know.